Hey everyone, it's Gabby Barrero here with Elena Tedeschi. She is one of our 25 Days of Small Biz Babes, and man, has she built something beautiful, especially for the community that she impacts. If you don't know Elena, she is a Italian immigrant coming here at, were you
6
at 6 years old? And where did you guys move to first?
to Maryland, to Hagerstown, Maryland.
To Maryland, and then eventually moving down to,
Yeah, my parents moved to Maryland, then I moved to North Carolina for college,
that's
and then I
right,
moved to New York for school, and then now I live in Jersey.
and Jersey. That's right, because when did you move to Jersey? It was only a few years ago, right?
2020. We were
Yes,
one
the
of the
pandemic. You were a
pandemic
pandemic
exodus.
mover. Yes, from Brooklyn
Yep.
now to West Orange.
Yep. West Orange, New
Yes.
Jersey.
And now, well-rooted kitchen. People may be hearing that and think like there's 9,000 different things that this could mean and that she could do. But tell them exactly what it is and how you started it.
All right. Well, before I was in the chefing world, I was actually in the mental health world.
Mhm.
And what brought me to New York, speaking of my moving around, was getting my master's in social work. And while I was there, my grandfather passed away, and going to his funeral was a big turning point. He was an engineer by trade, but then became a painter later in life. And I remember I've always wanted to cook. I've always loved cooking. I've been cooking since I could hold a spatula, but it wasn't quite the path that my, amazing immigrant parents wanted for me. It was more doctor, lawyer, CEO, which I now am. But but so I was like, okay, I'll go into the medical world. I'll make money as a doctor and grow and then build a restaurant. And so then I switched into psychology because I really loved mental health. I worked with individuals with autism when I first started, when I was 19 years old. And then fast forward to my master's and going to my grandfather's funeral. And it was the moment where I said, instead of helping other people, like coaching them to follow their passions and goals and dreams, now, why don't I practice what I preach and do that myself? Why do I need to wait till I'm retired to open a restaurant or, be in the food business? So I came back from that trip and decided to go to culinary school.
Wow. Where did you go?
I went to the Natural Gourmet Institute because I did still and still do really like health, mental health, wellness. So the Natural Gourmet was a health focused, health supportive chef program. I toured a couple different other ones, and this one felt like the most aligned because by this point, I'd grown up enough to realize that I did not want to actually open a restaurant, that wasn't the life that I wanted, but I wanted to go into maybe personal chefing, helping other people like use food to heal, adapting their diets. So that's why I chose that school, and I started originally Well Rooted Kitchen as a personal chef business. So I went into people's homes and I cooked food for them, often people that were dealing with autoimmune diseases, Lyme, cancer, or had a bunch of allergies that needed help to translate foods that they were told that they needed to eat, but they didn't know how to make them. So we
Mm.
still do that a little bit, like I call it prescription to plate, because someone tells you you need to change your diet, but if your diet isn't delicious, you're not going to eat it, right? So that. Um, But I also really love teaching, and I did miss the mental health aspect and the I was a behavior analyst working with like special needs individuals in the neurodiverse world. And so I started doing a little bit of that. There was an ad in my school's job posting looking for a chef to teach their adult son with autism how to cook. And I'm like, "Oh, this is great. Like my past world and my current world together." And that was like 9 years ago. And I just was doing that. I had some students there, but I was still primarily personal chefing. Then I started an after school program in a school. I was teaching at the JCC in Manhattan, and I started a group called Foodie Friends where it was like cooking and social skills together. But still, I wasn't quite sure that this could be like a full-time like focus. like teaching and cooking in the neurodiverse world. Um, and then slowly, just more and more clients came, and then I was like, okay, there really is a need here. And that is what brings us to today, where we now, Well Rooted Kitchen, we teach everyone of all abilities, regardless of age and skill level, how to cook. It's life skills through cooking. So it's not about making the perfect dish, but learning how to feel confident in and out of the kitchen. And we have almost 20 teachers now, over 50 students and counting, and we're growing. And one of my students' parents, I feel like said it best. They're like, Elena, you're not just teaching cooking, you're teaching them how to be like a more confident, just like human, like the skills that some of us might take for granted. And that just always touches my heart when I think about that, because it's not about can you make a sandwich, it's can you feel proud of what you do. And that's the idea behind the word well rooted, is that you feel strong and confident. Originally, it was nutritionally with the personal chefing, so helping people, deal with their physical health by having strong roots to weather any storm. But now it has kind of shifted into not just nutritionally, but just the pride and the sense of accomplishment and all the life skills that you can learn while you cook.
Wow. And now someone listening to this and you have 50 students, what kind of students are like are or would be interested, or if anyone's watching this, like who could they send your way that would be most aligned?
Um, I mean, it really is a wide variety of students. We have some folks that are wanting to feel more confident in their own kitchen because they want to move out and be more and be able to live independently. So they're transitioning from living at home to living on their own. Um, we've had individuals that have like physical limitations, so we help them figure out how to best adapt their kitchen or their tools so that they can still feel that sense of accomplishment. Um, we've had group like residential services have us come and we teach like the whole group and they work together to make dinner. So it's really, I know it's like they say niching down, but
Yeah.
but it's really we kind of I've worked with people that have had some like trauma when it comes to food, and they're like
Oh,
one of my students, their mom would always kind of like shush like um throw them out of the kitchen and say, no, like you can't cook, don't, this is my domain. And so now as an adult, um this particular one, adult, married, has a family, but is like, I want to be able to feel like I can cook for my family and provide nutritious food. But every time I enter the kitchen, I literally have like panic attacks and I don't know like how to start, how to time management, all those
wow.
executive functioning skills that happen. Um, and so we worked together to just help her figure out, like kind of get past that. That's where I say it's therapeutic, I leave the heavy therapy lifting to a therapist, but I understand it. And so if you are freezing up in the kitchen because you're afraid of the stove or whatever's happening, I'm not like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, hey, let's figure it out. Do we need to take a breath? Do we need to find another way?
Mhm.
And that's what I look for in my teachers too. So it's not because now it's not just me teaching, but looking for teachers that at their core have love and patience and care and want to see their students succeed and can adapt the lesson to wherever the students are at. So meet them where they're at. It's not a cookie cutter, like today we're learning sauces and tomorrow you're going to learn this. It's, hi, Gabby, you're our student. What would you like to learn? What are your goals? How do you best learn? We ask all sorts of questions. Are you a visual learner? Are you a more modeling? Do you need pictures? Do you need words? Do you need a video? And then we adapt our learning approach to our students.
Wow, what was coming to mind is what are some of the proudest transformations that have happened in your students?
Um, oof. Well, one guy comes to mind. His dad had hired me. Actually, originally he thought I was more like cooking for students, like still
Mhm.
personal chefing. And I
Yeah.
said, well, no, don't really do that anymore, but I teach. So, your son could learn to cook himself. And at first he said, well, I don't, he's never been in the kitchen and he's, middle aged. Like, I don't think this is ever going to happen. And I said, well, look, I don't like to make false promises. I'm not necessarily saying he's going to be like the next master chef or cook completely independently, but he might be able to participate more than you think. Let's see, right? I'm like, let's see. And I would send videos to dad of him like flipping chicken, like going towards the stove, mixing ingredients and making these meals with guidance and support, but much more than, you know, his father thought he could. And he has, sent me messages like, you're a miracle worker. How do you do that? And I say, it's not, I'm not magical. I think it's just having faith and allowing the space to do that. Like, just,
Wow.
yeah, just giving the opportunity. I think a lot of times it's just a matter of that, just like allowing it to happen,
Allowing the
giving the,
opportunity,
yeah.
opening up the space and making
Mm-hmm.
it okay if it doesn't taste right or if it doesn't look right. And I think that perhaps some people are underestimating what their children or what their loved ones can do. But most of the time, the people in our life will rise to the occasion if they're given a safe space, which it sounds like that's everything that you provide. Not only the instruction and the training and the structure, but the accountability and the consistency right through the weekly or bi-weekly or monthly or how often you work with them, and then also through your safe space and the kindness of you and your instructors. And as we're even mentioning this, it's bringing up something I think for us as a society, that we have so many blended cultures, that your upbringing around food may not be the same as my upbringing around food, and that it does greatly differ. So what was the experience for you like when you were younger in the kitchen?
For me, I I always loved being in the kitchen. I'm the oldest of three. I have two younger brothers,
And you were
and
welcomed in, right?
yeah, I was welcomed in. We joke like we're very much a
Okay.
foodie family. Um, my mom is a little bit more like eat to no, which is the way. I'm like eat to live. No, live to eat. I live to eat. My mom
Yeah.
now she's more of a
Yes.
foodie. I
Yes.
think when she was like, but she was always cooking. Like we had home cooked meals all the time. Sitting down to eat together was always a really big, important thing, which I carried that. I'm laughing because even in college, freshman year in college, me and my roommate made a little table out of Tupperware, like we had like cardboard boxes and the big Tupperware like topper on top to make a little dining room table in the middle of our tiny dorm room because having a dining table and sitting down and like sharing a meal with someone, that was just something that I didn't realize was as important to me until I, moved out. And my parents moved back to Italy when I was 18. So I was alone in the US since I was 18 years old. And so I think for me, cooking and sharing a meal, I started cooking for all my roommates. A junior, no, sophomore year, half of them like drop their meal plan and they're just like, Elena, just like cook for us. So I was doing this like personal chefing cooking, even unofficially. And even the first little boy with autism that I worked with, I just saw a post in the psych board looking for, I needed a job. I was 19, I was in college, I was a freshman. I was like, oh, do you want to work with, this little boy? And I was really blessed because that mom put a lot into my training. But one of the things that I naturally did with him, because I love to do, was cook. So just it wasn't even like okay, can you teach him how to cook? It was more like I love this passion. I mean, I have this passion. What if we cook together?
Can we
And
share
so
it together?
yeah.
Wow.
So I just think it's healing. That's what I find through cooking and being able to
Absolutely.
bring people together around a table.
Absolutely. And I love that you brought that up because I don't think I'd ever thought of it in that way, that perhaps there were those who weren't welcomed into the kitchen, and their partners might be like, "Oh, look at them, they don't know how to cook," but in reality they may have never been encouraged or invited to cook, and to think that it's never too late.
No, it's never too late. And I have to say, I'm thankful that my my parents kind of let us do whatever in the kitchen because we would do, I think it started once we made a brunch, like a Mother's Day brunch on a Sunday. And that day we like skipped church, I remember. And my brother and I were like, oh, this is like the way to get out of going to church. We were just being naughty and like, we were young and it was at that time church felt kind of boring, I think. And then
Yeah.
my parents like, no, no, like you can cook up a storm, but you have to be done in time to go to church. But which is just a funny memory. But that's how it started. Like on Sundays, my brother and I would cook, and my parents were still sleeping, and we would cook breakfast. And now my 10-year-old he cooks for me. He'll come and bring me breakfast, like avocado toasts, and yeah, I'm very lucky. He's only 10, and I think it's that because I allowed him the space. And sure, you crack an egg and it falls on the
Yeah.
floor. Okay, no big deal. We'll just clean it up. Like that's kind of my approach. Not that you need to be like a disaster in the kitchen, but if you make a mistake, like, no use crying over spilt milk kind of thing.
Absolutely. Well, I think it also brings up to the question of life skills. And in today's society, as we see an increase in Uber Eats and DoorDash, and really the restructuring of the nuclear family, right? I think that's what we call it, like the nuclear family. And things don't look like they used to. Things don't look like they used to look in the 2000s or the 2010s. Now that we're in the 2020s and we're in 2025, right? Halfway through this, I think that the family life is starting to change. And I think that's such a great question. I'm asking myself this question. Am I involving my children enough? Am I maybe thinking they can't do something that they can do? And what was I allowed to do, or what was I encouraged to do? And I think it asks us the role that we play. What role are we playing in the improvement, or maybe no improvement in certain areas of our children and loved ones' lives? So I'm like, oh, this has got my wheels turning. Like,
Yeah.
I think it must be so much fun that you get to do what you love. And now you have a whole team that also gets to do what they love. And did you ever think from 19, working with that first 5-year-old autistic boy, that you would get to where you are now with Well Rooted Kitchen?
No. Looking back, I think,
Oh, I think your headphones disconnected, maybe.
oh no, can you hear me? I can hear you. Hello, hello.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay, you
Okay.
said nope. I could read your lips, but I couldn't hear you.
I'm like, I can hear you still. Um, no. Oof, that's a whole different live, but I think it took me a while to really find my confidence and belief
Hmm.
that I could do this. I think there's there was the super creative, ambitious Elena, and then there was the one that life kind of lifed a little too hard in some ways. And made me
Sure.
question things.
Wow.
So but I'm thankful that I throughout it all, there's been ups and downs and whatnot, but that I have a lot of good people in my life that push me forward, that when I question, should I do this? They're like, yes, you can, and support me. And even now, my team that I have, like the admin side of my team at Walbridge Kitchen, I definitely couldn't do what I'm doing now without them. And so
Mm.
I'm very blessed for them. And then I also took, like, through building this business and having my first baby, I definitely had moments where I was like, can I do this? Do I need to go get like a job? I used to say, because if it was like a four-letter word, like go work for
Yeah.
someone else
Yeah.
versus be an entrepreneur. Um, which I'm sure a lot of entrepreneurs kind of go through that of like, do you really
Yes.
want to be doing this? And, you get tested a lot along the way. Um, but again, was able to find good people in my corner, like even like yourself,
Oh,
that
yeah.
and all that continue to inspire and push me and say, okay, yes, you can. So so that all the dreams that I had then, now I'm like, all right, you know what? I can grow this. I can help other people grow their businesses because I love that piece too. Like even though I left sort of the traditional therapy world, I very much like to help other people, especially women, like follow their passions and their crazy stories and or their not crazy stories, their crazy ideas. Because I definitely
Yeah.
have been told many a times, that's a crazy idea. It'll never work. And I'm like, I used to believe that. Now I'm like, watch it, watch me.
Wow. I would love to, as we wrap up, A, where can people find you on socials and website? And B, is there a book or a podcast that you've listened to that kind of just really changed life for you in 2025 or maybe before that?
Oof. Okay. Socials. So you can find me at Well Rooted Kitchen. And then you can also find me at Well Rooted You, which is more of like what I just sort of touched upon is more of the coaching and more mind body skills, the things that I use to help me get to this point, get past all the naysayers and grow my business, which go hand in hand. So it's like Well Rooted Kitchen is more nourishment for your physical body. Well Rooted You is a little bit more nourishment on a mind body level for you as an entrepreneur and as a business owner
Hmm.
there. And then book, a book or a podcast.
I know you have a few on the shelf behind you. I don't know if you.
I know. Oh goodness. I'm trying to think of a good one. No, I mean, well, right now I just started it, so I can't really speak to it, but I have the book Let Them up there.
Oh, the Mel Robbins, right? The
Yeah,
lesson theory.
but I haven't really read it. Um I don't know. I think more than a book or a podcast, I think it's being in just inspiring groups, like even like your group. And I know I wasn't paid to say it, but but going back to that community, I think that community
Yeah.
aspect more than with having a new baby this past year, like
Yeah.
reading and podcasts have been like
Low on the
haven't had the
list.
time,
Yeah.
but surrounding myself with other creative people, I think that was the most inspirational. Being in rooms with other people and we can share our ups and share our downs. That I think is what did it more than a book or a podcast.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much, Elena. You are doing such fabulous work. So thank you so much for going live with me today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.